Okay, everybody, as promised, a super quick video that will hopefully help you know exactly what I'm asking you to put in the boxes for the library database scavenger hunt. So the reason I have you guys do the scavenger hunt is just so that you can get started on looking for sources related to your topic. Again, you won't have to necessarily use these in your essay. It'd be great if you did use at least one or a couple of them in there, because you're not limited to just one database source. If you want to use more, you can. It's going to be your choice. But you do have to use at least one. So we're going to get started somewhere. And again, you could make it worth your while, or you could just put whatever in there. But it does have to be somewhat related to your project topic. So if it's completely off topic, that's not good. So I went and found a source that might be helpful to Ernesta's topic, related to low wages for fast food workers, and it's called California's Fast Food Workers Win Fight for $20 Hourly Pay, Industry Council. New legislation will create a panel that will set wages and other standards for the industry. So that could be useful in some way. I don't know, I haven't read it. The point is that it's related to the topic, it could be good. So, gotta start somewhere. All right, what goes in the boxes? Well, for each one, and you're going to find different types of sources. So you're going to find a newspaper or magazine, it's kind of like popular media source on your topic. You're going to find an encyclopedia or reference source on your topic. And there's actually a great database for this specifically called Credo Reference. If you go to the A to Z list of databases, she didn't show you guys that, but I love it. It's great. It shows you every single one we have. And Credo Reference is, I think, the best one. You just put in a general term for your topic, like food labor, something like that, and like it'll give you encyclopedia entries, reference sources, like from hundreds, sometimes thousands of different reference sources in one. So one of those, a scholarly academic journal article on a topic, an ebook source on a topic, which she showed you how to do that. We also have specific ebook databases, which if you go to the A to Z list, you can see them there. ProQuest ebooks is good. It doesn't have to just be about your topic, because you may not be able to find one that's specifically about that. It could be about other things too, but you know. And then I do this for extra credit because there's no guarantee you'll find it, but if you can find an audio or video source on the topic, I'll give you extra credit for that. So we've got something called Films on Demand as documentary videos, and a lot of the databases will give you audio and video results in there as well, like stuff from news clips and things. Excuse me. So, okay, the source. So let's go back to this. So this would be, this is from a newspaper source. I know this because I specifically found it under the news section in my search, so that helps. It's a newspaper source. I also could just see it's from a newspaper called The Guardian, and I just happen to know it's a newspaper based on my own knowledge. So I would put it under that in there. So what do you need to put in there? You need to put the database that it came from. You need to put the title of the publication. So in that case, it would be The Guardian. Okay. You need to put the title, which for that, I can show you where to just copy paste that from. It's a long one. And then if there's an author name, you give that here. Now, like it says, if a source doesn't give you the information, like it doesn't have an author named, you can write not given there. Don't just leave a blank, because I'll think you just skip that part. So just like she showed you guys, you can use the citation button to not cheat, but just kind of speed things up a little bit. So there's a title. I can copy paste that in. Look at that, easy breezy. It also tells you the publication name. There it is, Guardian. Okay, and it tells you the database name right here. So this can be a little tricky to find. Like you could also see it up in the left-hand corner, Gale and Context, opposing viewpoints. But this is what works cited entries are for, right? It's a breadcrumb trail that gets you back to a source wherever you found it. So it should have all the same information that I'm asking you for in these boxes, which is why I'm making you do this, so that you can get some practice kind of figuring out the bits and pieces, so that you know that you make sure that your works cited entries are accurate. So the database is Gale and Context, opposing viewpoints. The publication, the newspaper that came from, is The Guardian. I'm not asking for a publication date. Don't put a date in there. Okay. And then it's not putting an author name at the front. However, if you come down here, you see byline. Byline's a fancy newspaper term for whoever wrote the article. So sometimes you have to dig around a little bit to find. Oh, look, you can put highlights on these, by the way, before you send them to yourself, just FYI. So sometimes when students ask me for help with sources, I'll go into the databases and find stuff for them. I'll highlight stuff that I thought looked really good before I send them the article. You can do that for yourself too, though. It's a good tool. Oops. Okay about that. That's department head biz. Okay, there you go. And that's one down. That'll be one. So you do the same thing for each one. And you just have to, the hardest part, I guess, is just sort of knowing what type of source you're dealing with and knowing where to find those types of sources. But she showed you that. But this should help you figure out, okay, what goes in each box? What is she actually asking you to give her here? And where you can find that information. It's going to vary for each database, but you should be able to go to the works cited entry that it gives you and find all the information in there that you can just put in. Okay? Okay. All right. Thanks for coming to the session today. I hope you found it helpful. And if you need help with your database research moving forward, you got me, you got Rachel. Yeah, we'll help you find good stuff. Happy hunting.